When the goalposts are moving often and the company has to iterate often and the roadmap is changing because the market is changing, the macroeconomic situation is changing or whatever, um, it's tough, especially with larger sales organizations. I think when you're a smaller team and your salespeople could still be your founders or are selling alongside the founders, it's easier to close that gap. But even then, you run the risk that the founders in the meeting, so changes are being made on the fly rather than salespeople who are going to go through some degree of process before they're making bespoke commitments. I mean, long story short, if you want your sales team to be representing, the latest version of your product vision and your latest comm strategy and, where the C-suite and the board are all thinking about this business operating, you have to have tight uh, product market iteration loops. And you need to have a process internally, not like a big, super complicated CRM 40 field process, but a process where when product or vision or strategy or commercial, procedural changes take place in the company, they're released in some kind of formal way back to the sales organization, tested by that sales organization in the market, and then ideally fed back to those who initiated the change to begin with to get sort of a yes, no, maybe more of this, less of that as quickly as possible. And I would say the companies that do that sort of thing well are the ones that move much more quickly and take advantage of opportunities much more quickly than others in the market. I mean, I was at Revolut for a couple of years. It's a big company, but it operates in sort of smaller pods broken down by product owners. And the company's set up in that way because when a product owner is responsible for everything, product development, but also the commercial outcomes of said product, you're going to have a very product focused organization inherently. But what you see, because product thinking ends up throughout the processes, including the commercial ones, is lots of tight agile feedback loops, and you have lots of sort of hypotheses being tested and retested and driven to market and cut as quickly as they're launched. You don't see unsuccessful products in that company sticking around for very long, but you see lots of different products being pushed out into the organization much faster than the incumbent financial services or other fintechs that they're up against. So I learned a lot there about how even a big company can get things to market quickly with agility, and it has to do with clear communication, simple communication, effective processes, and tight iteration. And if you can build that into the DNA of your company, big or small, you set yourself up for a real opportunity and advantage versus companies that are calling themselves agile, but still, ultimately it's a waterfall. If your product roadmap is agile, but then it sells over here for 6, 9, 12 months and you don't get results out of then changing that super agile product roadmap, kind of all for none. So I think to summarize that point, if you can build that sort of thing into your business early on and hire on that basis and make that the framework upon which you build the later stages of growth, you're going to do yourself a big favor in how quickly you can respond to market changes.